nightly basis. And by golly, we really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And the gorgeous and talented Jennifer P. is back. Yes, she will be signing autographs after the show. All you got to do is line up down the center of the by out front of the studio. Donna C., thank you so much for that awesome super chat. I really appreciate that. Getting the week kicked off early here. We really do appreciate it. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell so you know when we're going to be live on this show. And, soon we'll have a new website to push you through to our nice, beautiful swag department. We're going to get going here in about 30 seconds. Oh, hey, P3. Hey, that's Gary Spikes Jr. right there, everyone. He likes a good clap. Gary Spikes Jr., a great veteran right there. A great veteran right there. We love our veterans around here. Our guest tonight, Drew Bankey's a veteran as well. There he is. You guys could say hi to him. Right there. Hey, Chefist, good to see you. Kevin, we're going to get going here in exactly 5 seconds. I'm pumped up. I hope you are too. Jose, thanks for coming on in. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Oh, we got a good one for you tonight. Drew Bankey is not only an Iraqi Freedom War veteran and an environmental activist, but he also holds such distinguished titles. Native American distinctions as Medicine Man, Sun Dancer, Sacred Pipe Carrier. Named Blue Thunder Man, Drew is co-founder of Sacred Journeys Within, a non-profit plant medicine church. He's the author of the channeled text, I'm Perfect, and So Are You, a clear channel of Osiris, Archangel Michael, and of Source. His experience with near death, several ET contacts, and participation in ancient sacred ceremonies has fostered a relationship with off-planet intelligence, which in turn has led to evolutionary responsibility as a CE5 facilitator. In other words, this man's got aliens, and you know we love our aliens around here. Drew Bankey, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Wonderful, Dave. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, brother.
You know what? I want to start off because we had you scheduled for an interview 2 months ago. And literally a couple hours before showtime, you found out some very dreadful news that your nephew had tragically passed away. And I want to just say, on behalf of all of us at Spaced Out Radio, to you and your family, we really wish you much love, peace, and some harmony from the big loss, man. And I know it personally. In 2018, I lost my nephew at 29 years old to a fentanyl overdose, and it's just not something you get over. And one of the ways that I get over it is I talk about it. And, my friend, we just want to pass all that love to you because, it's very rare that we have a guest that actually says, hey, I can't make it. And, when you called me up, I knew you were looking forward to this and being here. But I just wanted to say a big heartfelt love from all of us to you and your family.
I appreciate it. I received that, Dave, and thank you and your team so much for that. My nephew, Blake Michael Bankey, he was a veteran, 28 years old, and unfortunately took his own life. And I don't. We're not going to get real deep into this. I just want to say that this conversation has to be dealt with in a different way. Suicide has to come out of the dark and come out into the light so it can heal. And that's why I'm being raw in this moment, and I apologize for anybody that that may offend or anything. But I just want to be raw in this moment that this is what happened, and it needs to be talked about in different manners. So, blessings to Blake and his transition, and thank you, Dave, for the love and support. I appreciate it.
Well, we're very open people around here. Like, I am very open with myself. I suffer deeply from depression and anxiety. And one of the things that I always know is that there are, for years we have been told as men, we're not supposed to talk publicly about this stuff. We're not supposed to talk about our hurt, our pain, our feelings, and what's bothering us. We're supposed to keep it locked inside because that's what men do. And I'll tell you, man, that is probably the worst advice that anybody can have. And I'm sure through your spiritual journey and everything you've gone through, that sharing the message and sharing the love is really what's helped you heal from your own demons that you have inside.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So for us, getting to know you a little bit here as we turn towards our interview with you tonight, you're an Iraqi freedom veteran. Thank you so much for your service. Even though I'm in Canada, we still love every single veteran who comes and listens to this show and is a part of this show. So I want to say thank you for everything that you've done for your country and everything like that. How did you go from going from being a military man in the United States Army to now, finding your own passion, your own inner self?
Well, so I did 10 years in the Army. I was a forward observer, so I called artillery strikes and fixed wing and rotary aircraft strikes. So I was very much actively involved in combat, especially my second deployment. My first deployment was in 2005 in Baghdad, and my second deployment was in 2007 in Ramadi, Iraq, in Anbar province. And at that time, that was the most volatile area in the entire world. During that time frame, 2006 to 2008 time frame in Anbar was very intense. We lost my unit of 1,000. We lost 26 guys, and most of that was in a 5-month period. The first 5 months of that deployment. So, I come back with a lot of PTSD, and the trauma manifests into PTSD over time, and which led to depression, suicidal ideation, suicide attempts, and the rigmarole of the VA, the pharmaceutical industry. I became a victim of the pharmaceutical industry. I was on 5 different medications, and none of them were working. And the word ayahuasca come into my life somehow. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if I read about it or something. I knew I was reading about that it helped veterans, or it helped with PTSD, and I was at the end of my rope. I tried suicide so many times, and it didn't work. So I guess I had to figure out how to live in this life. There was no escaping it. So that's what the PTSD led me to plant medicine ceremonies in 2016 in Florida. And my first ceremony was a lot of cleansing. But my second ceremony, which was the following night, was I saw the spirit world, and I saw a lot of truths that a lot of people believe are fiction, all within about a half-hour time frame. Immediately went back and did another ceremony the next weekend, and in that ceremony, the spirit of Mother Ayahuasca, the spirit of the earth, really the divine feminine of the universe, asked me to be one of her channels in the physical to help further her mission of helping humanity evolve. So, in a nutshell, that's how it all started.
I hate to sound this as a horrific type question, But you mentioned that, due to your PTSD, you tried to commit suicide a number of times, and thankfully you failed. But at the time you were going through that, when you failed, did you feel? Because I've talked to other people who've tried suicide. Did you feel like if you couldn't accomplish this, you couldn't accomplish anything in your life? Did you feel at that point at your lowest of low?
I can't really resonate with that thought
Good.
in my memory at the time, but my last my last suicide attempt was in 2014, and I wound up in the hospital. And I took I think it was 200 Xanax, and
Oh wow.
and then snorted 8 ball of cocaine trying to stop my heart, and wound up in the ER about 28 hours later. I woke up in the ER, and in that moment, that's when it really hit me that I don't know if the spirit spoke to me. I don't really remember what happened when I was out, but I woke up with the understanding that there was no escaping this, that I had to find a way to fix it. I had to find a way to live, that there was no way of getting out of it. So, I guess from that point on, I started moving forward. But I was starting a business at that time. I lost the business. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost everything. It got way worse after that suicide attempt. And I guess that was looking back in retrospect. In my spiritual path since then, that was what needed to happen in that moment. So,
what did you learn about yourself through those failed attempts? Now, I'm saying from now, when you look back on it now, did it make you a stronger person and understanding the will to live today on your own spiritual path and journey?
Yeah, every single moment. I mean, every single breath of my life, that good or bad has led me to this exact moment right here that I'm speaking to you. So I honor all those breaths. I honor all those milliseconds that led up to me writing the book and publishing the book, and everything that's happened from 2016 on. It's really allowed me to see what the truth of reality is. That all those, now looking back, I can see all those, I can honor those, and I can love every single aspect of my existence. I was adopted at birth, the trauma in Iraq, divorces, and all those things, the good and the bad. I can honor all those things and love them because I know that they were all divine moments that led up to this moment here.
Well, we're sure proud that you're here, man. We are really, really proud that you're here and that you understand and you're fighting. Because I think what it did, and I could be speaking out of touch here because I don't know you that well on a personal level, but I think it made you stronger. I think it made your fight and your resiliency even stronger than what you had when you were a soldier in Iraq. And the ability to help people now that you've kind of danced with the devil and you looked the devil in the eye and gave him the middle finger and said, I'm in control, you're not. I think it's fantastic, man. I really do.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I come to find out that there really is no devil. There's, it's the devil is part of something that pushes us to be a greater person, and once we can realize that all of it's divine, anyone that's ever done any plant medicine ceremonies and meditation or had near death or had a moment, a magical, unexplained moment, one of the first messages that comes through is everything is in divine timing all the time, and then we come out of that meditation or come out of that dream or come out of that ceremony and we start forgetting. But, this is ultimately, this is what my book's about, and this is what my message is about now. And, come to find out that's what my mission is here, to spread that message and keep reminding people that truth is true in the physical just as much as it is in the dream space or meditation space or ceremony space. everything is in divine timing all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
we can, we have to start stepping out of that victim mentality, and that there's dark forces and all that. All those dark forces are necessary for us to move us towards the light, like in my case.
What is the biggest message you've learned about yourself going through this entire transition?
uh, that 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 I share a consciousness with Source and everything around me. So the biggest secret that I figured out, that everything is around me is a reflection of me. I mean, it's all me, and the same is true for you. Everything around you is yourself, and they're aspects. Everything that we view around us are just aspects of ourselves that we're trying to process internally and externally. The great gurus always talk about, that is within is without, and that just means there is no separation between what's going on inside of us and outside of us. And stepping a little further in the conversation into I just want to touch on plant medicine ceremonies. I show people a lot of times where our moods and what's going on when we're outside doing a ceremony, especially with like San Pedro or Peyote, the environment and the storms and the wind is affected by how the group is feeling at that time. So, this is, we're stepping into the time of magic and woo woo, these times we're in right now. So we have
Very
to
true.
understand. Yeah.
Now, before you started your own church and you ended up, taking your spirituality into an entirely different direction from where you lived before, were you an experiencer? Did you have ET contact before that? Did you have any paranormal type experiences that had you believing that any of this was real in the first place?
I get asked that question a lot. And going back, I don't have anything that really pops out, but going back, there was, I know as a child I was scared of the dark. There was things that moved in the dark, and eventually those got programmed out of me by my parents and those people around me. This is imaginary friends, or this is, these are normal noises, and they're not what you think they are. And I think there are a lot of us that happens to when we're children, because we're, the first, say 6 years of our lives, we are very open to energies around us, and the programming is at the beginning stages, so we can still pick up on things. And looking back on it now, that was very true for me. I slept walked one time when I was 7 years old, and my father told me I was speaking a different language when I was sleepwalking. But other than that, really, no, didn't have any experiences that I can remember or recall.
Okay,
a lot of people.
So let me just, sorry for cutting you off, but let's turn the dial here. You decide to go down your own spiritual path. How quickly did all of these type of experiences start to manifest themselves to you?
Well, very, very quickly, in the physical, I guess 2018 was the first time that I had a vision that manifested in the physical, and that was I was with some bird feathers that had come to me. Had come to me in a dream, and then it come to me 4 months later. It come to me in a ayahuasca ceremony, and at the end of the ayahuasca ceremony, the spirit of ayahuasca told me that I was going to receive these feathers in the physical, and that was going to be my connection between the dream, the ceremony, and the physical, so I would know that there was no separation between all three. And so because it was explained to me at that time, a lot of my communication would come in my dream. Some would come in the ceremony, but I would have to fully realize that was all connected. So it was a very I'm not going to go into too many details of what the bird was or what the feathers were, but it was a very, very pivotal moment, to say the least.
How much did it open up your eyes to everything that is out there? Like, because I know when I had my own spiritual awakening and when I talk to other people who have had their own awakenings, like when you go down this rabbit hole, man, there's no end to it. And you have to follow every trail. So I'm just curious if you did the exact same thing, or were you guided down a certain trail by your masters on the other side?
Yeah, immediately. Like from the third ceremony in 2016, I was immediately guided. I was shown extraordinary things I'd be doing in the future. Yeah, I never imagined that I would be speaking like this, and speaking about spirituality in general, and getting back, like before the first ceremony, like I was a red, white, and blue, like beer drinking, veteran, like the classic veteran, and that all faded away very quickly. I'm just still a veteran, but the whole mindset just shifted a little bit, and it just opened my eyes a lot to what really was going on, why I joined the military, and what led me into that from the government perspective. But I'm sorry, what was your question, Dave?
Well, no, you said it beautifully, because it actually leads me to another question, as we got about 3 minutes to go here before we go to break at the bottom of the hour, and we have Drew Bankey as our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. For you, as you've gone down this road and really found your spiritual enlightenment and will to live, have you tried to draw in other fellow veterans that you know, or those that are in trouble, into your own little circle to try and balance them on a spiritual level as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. We, me and my wife Ella, she's the other founder of our church, Sacred Journeys Within, and she's my medicine partner, my partner in life, and the love of my life. Much gratitude to her. She's in bed now, but yeah, we've helped thousands, hundreds of veterans, and it's like kind of like the two guitar strings in the same room. You pluck the G string on one, the G string will start vibrating on the other. That's kind of what's happened with me. Don't have to really look for veterans so much. The veterans kind of find me through word of mouth, through ceremonies, of freeing people from, giving them true sovereignty as a human being and as a spiritual being. I guess that's what we provide here. On a really basic level. There could be chapters of what we actually do here, but yeah, we've helped thousands of veterans. We've traveled a lot we've done a lot of ceremonies in Florida, California, Ohio, which is where me and my wife are both from originally. We're in Colorado now. But yeah, we've done ceremonies all over for years, and we're finally have a space now and land where we can have our ceremonies in our place, and our energy's grows a lot better here. So yeah, we've helped a lot, and yeah, there's tons of veterans that we've helped.
Good for you. As we got about 45 seconds, are you at peace now, or do you feel the journey is still continuing?
I'm at both. I'm at peace, but the journey will always continue. I mean, the PTSD will always be there. None of those memories got erased. I'm just looking at them from a slightly different angle is all.
How do you look at it now, as we got about 20 seconds?
I look at it from a spiritual point of view. I honor every single one of those moments because they led me to the medicine. They led me to the spirit. They led me to my own light, really.
Right on. Drew, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to get into everything from NDEs to ET contact. There's a lot going on with Drew, as well as being accepted into the First Nations culture as a medicine man, as a shaman, and we're going to learn all about this. Let's continue the journey together, shall we? Right here with Drew Bankey, our guest on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back right after this. All right, my friend, we're clear.
Cool.
That's a good start. Solid
Yeah.
radio right there. Solid
Thanks.
radio.
Yeah, I appreciate you helping me go through it, because a lot of people would be like, well, lay it out. And I'd be like, woo, it's a lot. It's a lot to lay out. So I appreciate you helping me move through it and stuff.
Oh, no worries, man. We're just a small part, small cog in the wheel moving forward, man.
Yeah. Yeah, my book's all over India, Australia. There's I don't know. I don't know really how to describe who I am, Dave. To tell you the truth, man. Like, I don't know. I'm something different, but I'm kind of a mirror for everybody, and I'm walking as source now, as embodiment of source, and not as, hey, I'm the father here walking, but hey, I'm the father here walking, and so are you. And that's kind of like what's happening now.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I really do think it's great, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna break it all down, like why it's happening right now. We kind of set this date, 2020 and 2021. We set that date.
Rock and roll. All right, we've got about 4 minutes here, and so we got lots of time here to just chill for a little bit, which is good.
Is the video on air right now?
Yeah, video's on YouTube live right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting some love in the chat room already, man.
Yeah, thanks, Vinny. Oh, appreciate it, Michael. Thank you so much.
It's good stuff, man. We got good people in our chat room. We really do.
Yeah. Project Blue Book. Thanks, Kara. Appreciate it. Hey, Brian, the book is called I Am Perfect and So Are You. It's on Amazon, by the way. Yeah, me and Grant got into it. We went deep.
Grant's amazing.
Yeah.
I was just talking to him the other day, and like he is just I owe so much to two people in this field. Grant Cameron is one of them. Lorian Fenton is the other. And Lorian Fenton really gave me an opportunity my first opportunity to speak at a big UFO conference. And Grant, who I really didn't, I knew who he was. I think he was kind of still wary about me. And he heard me speak. And I remember it was weird because I'd never got a standing ovation before in my life. And there's like 150 people in this room. It's just jammed. 200 people in there, and everybody's standing and clapping, and my eyes are focused on Grant because that is the one person in the room I wanted to impress, And
Yeah.
I watched him stand up, beeline it straight for the stage, and he goes, "I'm getting you to speak in Toronto." And I was like, oh, my hero. Right? Oh,
Yeah, he's great.
I love Grant.
Yeah, he was my first big one that I had, and at the end of it, he asked me to come on and do a follow up, do a second episode. I was like, yeah, thank you. So, it was awesome.
Yeah, I got a lot of time for Grant Cameron, a lot of time. Grant to me is a lot of people criticize him, but to me he's the perfect researcher because what he does is he takes a road or a path that may seem real strange to all of us, but he goes down that path until he hits a dead end. And then he comes back, and then he starts a new path of research. And I just think that is just amazing. I really do. So, yes. 1 second here. We got just a few seconds here. I want to say a big thank you to Catfish ×2, to Donna and to Jennifer for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And if you're new, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight. Drew Bankey is our guest. He's got a great book that you can find on Amazon. It is called I Am Perfect, and So Are You, a clear channel of Osiris, Archangel Michael, and of Source. And we're going to get into some of his experiences here momentarily, because you are a near-death experiencer. What was that like for you the first time it happened, Mike? Or Drew, pardon me.
Very confusing. It's happened twice that I know of. The last time was during my Sundance ceremony. And talk a little bit, just brief description of what the Sundance is. The Sundance is an old native ceremony. It's done without any plant medicines or anything. It involves a fast from food or water, and you dance from sun up to sundown. And there's also a piercing involved, where you pierce your flesh. There's either pegs that are made out of animal bones or wood, and then there's ropes attached to a tree, or a buffalo skull. You drag buffalo skulls are attached to a tree, and you pull away. And you pulling away from the breaking your skin is breaking away from the confines of humanity and the confines of the physical world. So that's, in a nutshell, that's basically what the Sundance is. So my third year of Sundance, which is 2019, was I eagle danced. So I pierced on the first day, and I connected to the tree on the first day, which normally that you would pierce and you'd only dance connected to the tree for like one round, which is about a 2-hour time frame out of just one day, and then you break at the end of that round. So, but I had got a vision to do an eagle dance to honor the eagle and at the Sundance. So I pierced on the first day. First day was fine, and the second day I hit what they call a brick wall, like hit a wall in my ceremony, and I went into shock from the pain, and long story short, I went out for 5 to 7 minutes. I was little to no pulse and little to no breath. And there was a team around me that was medics that were trying to revive me, and a bunch of other people. And I come back. When I come back alive, when my body come back alive, I was able to really, I knew what happened while I was gone. I could tell people what they were saying, what they were doing. Exact positioning was around my body, and I actually could describe what my body was doing because I was actually above my body watching it. But the first few moments, getting directly to your question, Dave, the first moments of that was very confusing. I didn't know I was dead. I didn't know why that I couldn't set up, and when I finally set up, my spirit set out of my body, and that's kind of when I separated from my body, and that's when I really realized that my body had expired, and I wasn't sure if it was supposed to come back, but it was it was it was undescribable moment in that time frame. I really thought really confused for about 20 seconds.
When you say you were confused, what do you mean by that? What led you down that confusion?
Well, I was laying on the ground. They had brung out a sheepskin, and I'd fallen on the ground. A couple people had caught me, and I started going into convulsions. Um, they brung out a sheepskin, put underneath me, but they had laid me flat out, and there's people all around me. The medics were coming out and checking my pulse and trying to started working on me, started to give me CPR, making sure my airways were cleared and everything. And I was laying there, and the thought had crossed my mind, why don't I get up? And I heard someone say he's not breathing, and one of the medics that was actually another participant in the ceremony, he was actually a medic there as well. He was there with his bag and everything, and I heard him say he's not breathing, he doesn't have a pulse. And I was really confused in that moment because I didn't know who he was talking about, and because I couldn't feel it in my body or anything. I could hear. My consciousness was still present, but my body was just off, and that's the best way I could probably describe it. My body was off, but my consciousness drew the person that's what you're hearing, the voice and the vibration you're hearing, was still there, and it never left, it never stopped, and it come back with the memories, and it come back with details that only would have been are unexplainable unless I was still there.
What did it feel like being dead?
Well, I was around my body for a little while. I was watching what was going on, and I contemplated what was going to happen to the ceremony, what was going to happen to people around the ceremony, how it was going to affect their lives, me dying in that way, me dying in that sacred ceremony like that. And I concluded really quickly that everything was going to work out for everybody around there. And so in that moment, I started to float away from my body, I guess. I started to hear the voices around my body, and everything that was going on was getting further away. At this time, I wasn't seeing my body anymore, but I was hearing what was going on, and it was getting further away. And as I floated away from my body, I started to see a light in the sky, like a big white light, and I recognized it as Godhead or Source. And I knew I was headed back there and to reincarnate. At that point, my consciousness was fully aware of reincarnation and how it works. So I knew I was going back to reincarnate into something different. And then I started thinking. Then I saw my wife. I saw a flash of my wife. She was at the ceremony as well, and I don't know. I guess I zoomed to her. And I fast forward a little bit and seeing how she was going to take my passing. And I saw how my children was going to take my passing. Sienna Gage and Alyssa, blessings to them. But I saw how they were going to see my passing. And it was going to be really hard for them. And I couldn't take that. So I had a choice that if I kept thinking about them, the more I thought about them, that love started pulling me back towards closer to my body. I started hearing the voices stronger. So I realized, the more I thought about my wife and my children, that was pulling me back towards my body. So I could really, that was my choice at that point. I could think about source, and I would move towards source or God or whatever label you want to put on that vibration, or I could continue with the love, and it would pull me back into body. So I chose that, and I chose to. I saw both ways what would happen if I went to body. What would happen? So, yeah. So
can I ask you? You just said something really cool, man, and that is you saw both ways of what it could go, whether you came back to your body or what you didn't, whether or not you didn't. What was the other way? What did they show you?
The way of me not passing, or the way of me passing?
Well, let's go through both.
The way of me passing, just it was going to be really hard on my wife, and my children. This spiritual journey has been really hard on my relationship with my children. So we've been disconnected for a number of years, and other things. Being a veteran was very hard on my relationship with my children. They're teenagers now, and the reconnection is slowly happening, and it's only started happening since that. And I saw that this was going to be in my future, if I continue with my life as Drew in the physical. And I saw a lot of things in the future of, beautiful moments with my wife, and just it wasn't even big things. I just saw just moments with my wife, just watching the sunset and hugging her, and her crying and me crying, and just life. And I just saw a couple of flashes like that, a couple of flashes of my kids in the future, the relationship we would have. And I also saw how it would turn out, like if I did pass, my kids are going to be very devastated. And there's that reconnection has to happen for them to really move forward in a good way. So
it was basically all about family and love, and which way you could go. And in the end, you said you had the choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for sure.
What's it like having that choice? I mean, most of us on this planet don't know what it's like to have that choice.
Well, this is not the first time I've had a choice like that. The first experience with ayahuasca, when she asked me to work with her, that was a choice that most people won't understand unless they've actually got spoken to by a spirit like that. And I mean, I barely believed in anything spiritual at that time. I was very fresh but in that moment, it was something about the vibration of that vision, or the whatever you want to call it. That was it. I felt it was on a much deeper plane than I could really fathom at this point. And I knew that it was real. Like, I knew it was real. And I knew to know that love was the, in a nutshell, it was family, my children, my wife, but in a just real simple 4 letters, LOVE. That's all it was. And to know that that's really, the basis of that's really the currency of the creation is love. That's what is how the spirits describe it to me. The currency of the creation is love.
So you made the choice to come back. Have you ever regretted that choice?
Not one second. No.
Well, that's good to hear, because others were like, you know what? I'd go back there in a heartbeat. That felt really good. I kind of miss it there. Well,
when you're in that space, you step out into a timeless space, and you understand that this time frame that's in the body, I know that there's going to be heartache and pain in the future, in my life, and I know there's going to be love and bliss. and that's all part of it. But the process of so much was revealed to me in a way that I can't even describe. It's just a knowing or a vibration come over me, and I've had other moments where I've been to Godhead and bring back some pretty deep messages that they're just truth. I don't know how else to put it.
Does that include, or did you ever get to visit the Akashic Records?
I have no. I've actually I put the intention in before, but I've never visited the Akashic Records. I think, and I think the Akashic Records is part of a roadmap to get you back to source. So, in 2018, I believe it was, I had a moment where I went into source. I had my Godhead moment, moment of enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it. But I wasn't. It wasn't a near death in a sense where my body was dying, but I was disconnected from my body, and I was at the source of all creation. And it wasn't. There was no figure to it. It was just a ball of light. And it spoke to me and asked me if I wanted to step inside it, if I trust myself, if I trusted it. I said, of course I trust you. I recognize it very clearly what it is, source. And the next question came and said, do you trust yourself? And I said, well, I don't know. That's a loaded question. I said, yeah, I trust myself. And I said, make sure, because if you're holding anything back from yourself, if you're lying to yourself about anything, if you have anything deep and dark in the closets, and you try to step inside, you're going to restart a process of 26,500 years of incarnations to even get a chance to come back and try this again. I was like, okay, wow.
That's a little heavy. That's a little bit of a lengthy timeline right there.
It's very exact. Yeah, in that moment, I saw myself sun dancing, and I stepped inside source, and I gave up my physical body at that time. And I had given up my physical body with the intention of fixing everything, and fixing all these wars and famine, and just spread peace on earth. What everybody always talks about. I was like, here's my chance. And in that moment, I realized that there was nothing for me to do inside Godhead. Because I was able to see everything. I was able to see everything on this earth, on this plane, in this 3D realm, in other dimensional fields, in other universes, and other galaxies, and in the entirety of creation. Not just what we can see, touch, and feel. There's a whole mass that's out there that's we probably will never see. I got to see all of it, and I got to see all of it. The wars in one area would be balanced out by groups falling in love, or groups meditating in a different area, and it is all just balanced out in this synergy vibration that always was just there. The lessons fueled the love. Just like how the things in Iraq fueled me to move towards the spiritual path and find these truths. It all balanced out, and that was the truth on everything. And it's like, I realized in that moment, my mission was not to go into source and fix everything from source. My message was to bring that truth back into the physical and spread it. And it's very simple. It's right in front of our faces. There's one consciousness. We all share it. The separation is an illusion. The moments and the traumas are designed to lead us home, to lead us really back into the light inside ourselves. And understanding that source is all around us. We are a drop of water inside the ocean of source. And you can either identify as a drop of water, or you can be the ocean of source.
I'd like to be the ocean of source. That'd be a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
We've got about 4 minutes to go here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Our guest tonight, Drew Bankey, and we're having a great time. Real candid, honest interview here. And I know the people in chat room are really enjoying this so far, Drew. So thank you so much. For you, as we finish up this half hour with the near-death experience, is it something you would like to happen again? Or is it something that you're past that, and you're like, you know what the message is, and you know how to go about your business now?
I'm good on the near-death experience. I got the lesson from that. I can move forward in a comfortable way. And, one of the blessings that the spirits gave me when I decided, when I chose love and come back into my body. And even now, as I talk about source is source, I still refer to spirits, and I still honor spirits. I still honor the plant spirits. I still honor the spirits of the Sundance and Lakota spirits and all our ancestors that passed on and are passing us knowledge from the other side. I still honor that whole area, that whole idea, because it's still very much there, and it's useful tools. But one of the gifts that they gave me is they told me never to Sundance again. They told me that that sacrifice, that physical sacrifice, is something I don't need to do, and that the time is here that humanity needs to show itself compassion. And they told me that we wouldn't Sundance again, and I told a lot of people in 2019 when I came back into my body after that near death that we weren't going to Sundance again. And 2020 come along, and we haven't Sundance since. It got canceled because of COVID, and we haven't Sundance. So a lot of people didn't believe me when I said that. And the universe is showing us compassion, and it's hard for us to see it in these times right now. But if you look at what's happening in the humanity right now on a spiritual or energetic level, you can see that the universe is showing us compassion.
Is the universe showing compassion, or just showing the ugliness of humankind right now with everything that's going on?
Well, it's showing us compassion because it's showing us the truth. It's lots of times we have to shape things up for the truth to come to the surface, and that's what we're seeing a lot of right now. We understand that the election in the United States is something of a farce. We understand that the government's not the insurance company that they've been portraying for the last couple hundred years. The split between the mask and COVID and spirituality and physical, it's a blessing to me, because I understand I see what's going on. This is a prophetic time. This is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of a new age. And I think we're going to probably be getting into that in the next segment.
Oh, for sure. We're going to get into some new age stuff. We're definitely going to get into that. And, of course, we do have to touch on some aliens tonight, because
I love it.
When somebody's got aliens, old Davey is all ears. Not going to lie.
I got a blockbuster. I got a good one for you.
Ooh. Well, that's actually a nice tease, man. It's actually a nice tease, and I'm trying to hold off on the aliens until later, and I don't know if I'll be able to now.
I got a good one.
Yeah. But, Drew, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. And, of course, we're going to be able to get into some of this New Age stuff. What have you learned? How has spirituality taken you down a path? Whether it's through, prophecy, whether it's through, ayahuasca. I don't know. We're going to get into it all, man, because that's what we do here on Spaced Out Radio. Drew has a great book out on Amazon. You're going to want to pick it up. I Am Perfect, and So Are You. A clear channel of Osiris, Archangel Michael, and of Source. Definitely want to pick it up on Amazon. Drew Bankey is our guest tonight. Let's open it up. And your questions, if you're in our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. We'll be back with more of the mighty SOR right after this. All right, man, I'm just going to step away for a couple of minutes. If you want to talk to the audience, that's great. If not, I'll keep your microphone up. If not, don't. Plain simple.
Sure.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, guys, my book. This is my first channeling from Source. It's on the back of my book, on the back cover. So here's my first channeling from Source, and this is not something I try to do. It's just something that happened. So it goes like this. I am the source of all creation. You are the creator through the power of manifestation. Step back into your power to facilitate the upcoming evolutionary shift. So that's in a nutshell, that's kind of pretty much the whole message, it's self-empowerment. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the show. And it's really an honor to share this message. And even more, you can check out my YouTube at Drew Bankey. You can check out website sacredjourneyswithin.com. And guys, information about upcoming retreats and medicine retreats and more of what we do here. So, yeah, looking forward to getting into the next part of this. Thanks, Kara. I'm a reflection of you. Explain your tattoos. Let's see. Perfect. Thank you, Nelly Princess. You're day walking. Have you ever had day walking meditation? Yes. I'm on a medicine retreat now. Awesome, Justin. New age hippie, blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, if you only knew. You talk about combo. Yeah, talk about combo. Yeah, combo is a great cleanser for things that ayahuasca can't get to. Do you have a YouTube page? Yes, it's just Drew Bankey. My last name Bankey. Diverticulitis. Reach out through the one asking about combo. Reach out through the website. My wife can better answer that. She's an LPN nurse as well. And what did you?
All right, brother, I am back.
Okay. Sure, can we get
Lynn Seuss, thank you so much for that awesome super chat. Really do appreciate that. It's a super sticker.
No, Justin, we can't get ayahuasca from my website. We don't deal it, but we work with it. We're a church. Just stub Drew. Who just subbed Drew?
I want to try and show the audience something. Let's see if I can get this to work here. Hold on. Oh, I got to create it. Damn it. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. I wanted to show them something. Yeah, no more talking about Dave. He's back. That's right. We've got about 1 minute here, guys. 1 minute.
We had bets whether you were in the bathroom or having a smoke.
Bathroom. I take my dogs out.
Oh.
I got elderly dogs, and they've timed out my breaks over the years I've been doing this show. All right, I want to say a big thank you to Catfish with the hat trick, Sinister, Lynn, Donna, Jennifer, Wagon, and Lib for the amazing super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Really do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. Here we go with hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Herquitaliancy. Herquitaliancy is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with author, researcher, church starter, if we could call him that. Our good friend Drew Bankey is here. He is a veteran of the United States Armed Forces and the Army branch, that is. And we want to say thank you for coming on in. He's got a great book out that you can find on Amazon that is called I Am Perfect and So Are You, a clear channel of Osiris, Archangel Michael, and of Source. Drew, welcome back.
Hey, thanks you, Dave.
Let's get into it, man. Let's
do it.
Let's get right into it. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to connect with their higher selves, and they're trying to connect with who they are, what they're all about. How do you go about this?
Well, really, it's individual. You know, we all have a different way to connect that's pre-designated, or we set for our higher self set for our manifestation to come to that moment. Because we have to understand everything's in divine timing. So whenever we do find that light, that's how it is. And it could be through a near-death experience. It could be through a paradigm shift of seeing a ship. It could be through a plant medicine ceremony. It could be through meditation. It could be through, you know, just having a spontaneous moment. And there's a multitude of ways, and really it's an infinite amount of ways of how it could happen. And it's all pre-designed and we have to be in flow. And really, it usually happens when we're on our healing journey, whether it's hiking, the Pacific Trail, or out hiking anything or anything like that. And it's in a moment where, we're really desperate for answers. And in that moment, the universe kind of shows us where the answers come from.
So for you, when you were helping guide people towards finding their higher self, take us through that journey, man. We'd appreciate that.
Well, I work mainly with ayahuasca, which is ultimately she's the spirit of the plant of ayahuasca. She's the spirit of the vine that of half of the ayahuasca brew. She's the spirit of the brew itself. She's the spirit of Mother Earth, and she's ultimately the spirit of the divine feminine. So she's half of the vibration of the entire universe. You're able to access the information base that the divine feminine has when we commune with ayahuasca. And so we've been studying with ayahuasca since 2016, full time since 2018 as medicine people, and both me and my wife. And we open up space in a sacred way with tobacco starting out with, and we have songs that's been given to us by our teachers to invoke certain vibrations and certain spirits to come in and help hold the space. And once we had the space set and a safe environment for the ceremony to take place, the medicine to be served, and from that point we will start working through Icaros and different songs and vibrations to bring more spirits into the space to help heal whatever is needed in the group that's with us. And so we do there's a lot of pre-work involved. That's the ceremony itself. There's a lot of pre-work involved. My wife does tons of work on the front end before ceremony, doing medical screenings, medical questionnaires. She has experience as an LPN nurse. She has over 14 years experience as an LPN nurse prior to becoming founding the church with myself and stepping out of the Western medical field more into holistic field. But that Western medicine background comes in handy. Checking people in for ceremonies, especially with the combo and ayahuasca. The combo is a much more intense ceremony, but she goes through screenings. We want to know what traumas people are trying to work on, their intentions, why they're coming here. We really don't. Our church is not here for people just to come experience a drug. Our church is here to have people come here and experience a plant spirit, and ultimately, hopefully, find themselves in that process.
For people out there who may not know what ayahuasca is, could you give a definition of what this plant is?
Yes. So the plant is Basteris capi. It's a vine that grows in South America, in Peru, mainly, and in other parts of South America. But it's most widely known in Peru. The Shipibo tribe is one of the most widely known tribes that have been practicing with this medicine for thousands of years. So the brew itself is a mixture of traditionally, it's a mixture of Basteris capi and another plant called chacruna, which is it's more of a bushy plant, and it usually grows in the vicinity of the vine. So the vine and the bush usually grow in the same vicinity in the jungle. Those two plants mixed together, they make up the ayahuasca brew. So we touched on a spiritual level. On a physical level, what the ayahuasca brew is, it's an MOI inhibitor, which is contained in the vine, which is Basteris caapi, which is also known as ayahuasca. So the vine carries the name of the brew. So that carries mainly the MOI inhibitor and the spirit of ayahuasca, the vibration of ayahuasca. The chacruna carries dimethyltryptamine, NN4 and DMT, which we produce in our bodies. So that's the visionary vehicle that's in the brew, and the spirit is in the vine. So those two combined have been revered in ceremonies for thousands of years, and it's a process that has been repeated over time, so that spirit is involved with that ceremony, and so it's involved with that medicine.
Okay, so for those who are unfamiliar with it, and I've never done it, so I don't know, what are the effects? Where does this take you when you use it?
So at first, you first ingest the medicine. I just walk you through just what a basic ceremony would be.
Sure.
So the first you ingest the medicine, you would come up to the altar, or I would bring a cup to you, depending on how many people or where we're actually doing the ceremony. But the important part is you drink a small portion of the medicine. It's basically like about a shot glass size portion of the medicine, and that what we would call the first round. So you ingest the medicine. About a half hour into it, you would start feeling tingling. You might start seeing. Your vision might start being adjusted a little bit differently from what you normally would see the physical surroundings as. And as time progressed over the next hour to 2 hours, you would slowly start to shift into more of a spiritual state, I guess you would call it. So your vibration would start to rise. You would start to feel your vibration rising, and ultimately that's what's going on. You're rising out of a 3D vibrational space, and you're rising into more of 4D, 5D, and you're raising into more of a space that is held by angelic realms or spiritual realms. And so I'm kind of mixing physical and spiritual understandings of this, but it's hard for me to separate the two at this point. But so your vibration rises, and you may or may not be totally disassociated with your body. I have several times been totally disassociated with my body, meaning for a moment, for moments in the ceremony, you can forget that you actually have physical form, and you're in oneness. You're in a state of oneness with the universe, and at that point, you get showed a lot of things that you would never imagine, or things that truths that you would never imagine. You're able to go back into, and once you get into that space, you can actually go back and start to heal yourself, because you've stepped outside your physical self, and you're actually what some would call in a higher self state. So you can actually go in and go back and replay moments of your physical life and see why they happened, and come to terms with them and move on. And see why they ultimately, as you can see why something had to happen to lead to something else.
Okay, so if it opens up your mind, can you have a bad trip on this stuff?
Not in a ceremonial state with someone that knows how to hold that space. That's kind of the reason why medicine people are here, because they've gotten to a point where they understand it in a very deep way, and they hold that space where that's not an option. So it's that's why a medicine person is there. So a bad trip happens in a party setting or at home when you're not opening up the proper space, and really that bad trip wasn't a bad trip at all. It was just something that was you perceived at that moment as something more than you could handle. But people look back on bad trips 2 years later and they're like, wow, I really learned something from that. And that's it's just about perception. And that's really the big lesson of life, how we live our life in every moment. It's about perception, how we view it.
How do we contact our spirit guides, spirit source, extraterrestrials while we are on this? Grant Cameron is currently doing a study on this and talking to people about, the usages of DMT and other sorts of hallucinogens to help, get into that space where you can connect with your higher self or your higher source or even ETs from different dimensions and outer space. How do we do that?
Well, about intention, and it's you have to clear out things that are in the way, and very simply, we have, our chakra system. We're electrical beings at our core. Tesla had it spot on. Everything is frequency vibration. And it's what we're seeing and feeling and experiencing on all different levels. The five senses and even senses that are past the ones that we know about that we're feeling. That intuition. That's another sense that's coming online now that that's like the sixth sense, and there's seven sense and eight sense, and this is going to keep evolving. The more and more that we heal, the more that every time that one of us heals, the collective heals because we're part of the collective, and that therefore humanity moves forward in a more pure way. And the putting out intention to having a paradigm shift of seeing a ship, that may take a while, that may take years of getting to the point of doing that, but you're not going to have a sighting until you're ready to have that sighting. You're not going to have a spiritual experience until you're ready to have a spiritual experience. And there's really the best way to do it is to clear yourself and get real with yourself and get raw and talk the way I've been talking on in this interview, very raw and open. And that's the only way to really get down to the depths of what is holding us back. So if you are mourning someone for example, if you're mourning someone for a long time and for years, and you're not processing in the right way, you're going to start to have a blockage in what they call the root chakra. So each one of our chakra systems have a certain area of our body that they're responsible for energetically manifesting. If those are blocked, we start to have issues like irritable bowel syndrome or upset stomach. If we ignore those signs and keep going and don't process and don't recognize that there's a trauma that's blocking our energetic body, and we keep going on, that they manifest as cancer and eventually can end our life. So these things are energetic, but over time they manifest in the physical form, and that's simply a sign for us to pay attention to. And we're moving into the age where this is starting to become understood. It was understood a long time ago, and it's been put in the shadows because this real truth, the being able to tap into the spiritual energy, being able to tap into the universe, is something that is going to mess up the whole construction of how the world is constructed around money, hierarchy, hate, war, and all this other things. These truths will really dismantle that, and that's why they've been being hidden. We're about to wake up to a really big conspiracy that's been done for a very long time.
Very cool, very cool. And Drew Bankey is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, and we're talking about DMT. For a lot of people out there who are afraid to try it, okay? Like, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I have ever tried in my life, I may or may not have tried marijuana at one point, all right? But I have never done cocaine. I have never done heroin, meth, or any type of illicit street drug out there, okay? What is the difference between what you get on the street for that high or that numbing feeling comparatively to something like ayahuasca or mushrooms, for instance?
Well, ayahuasca, the dimethyltryptamine, the NN4-DMT, commonly known as 4-DMT, the NN's normally not said. We produce that. We produce that in our body. We produce that in. This is scientifically proven. This is not something that Drew's just thrown out there. This is something that actually happens. It's produced in our pineal gland. It gets stored in our brain. It gets stored in our brain matter, and it also gets stored in our lungs. It gets stored in other parts of our body too, along our spinal cords, ironically, along our chakra system or spinal cords, whatever you want to call it, whatever word you want to put on it. But that's the difference between any street drug that's out there. You're communing with a chemical that we make as a human being. It's found in nature. It's found in the acacia bush, the burning bush in the Bible. The acacia bush has a high DMT content. That's why the vision came on the mountain, because the bush was burning. This is found in thousands of plants all over the earth, all over the Amazon. It's found in plants in the United States that's growing out in nature. These are and it's codes from the earth to help us. It's we're, as spiritual beings, we are part of Father Sky, and this kind of get into native terminology, but as spiritual beings, we're part of Father Sky. We're part of the stars. We're connected to the stars. As physical beings, we're connected to Mother Earth. The physical matter that makes up our manifestation is borrowed from the earth. All the chemicals and minerals that is here, we're borrowing for 40, 60, 80, however many years you're here, you're borrowing it, and it's going to go back. So all these messages are coming from this being, this important thing for people to understand. If they don't understand anything else, that this earth that we're on is actually a living being that has a soul, has a heartbeat, it may not look like your heart, the blood might not look like yours, it may look like water, but it's a living being. They don't get anything more out of this. That's one thing I pray that everyone understands. If they can start down that road, then the other stuff will unfold. But getting back to the DMT, this is in our body. This is what we work with. This is what gets released when you have near-death experiences or when you go through the dying process. The DMT is there to help us with our transition, because as I stated much earlier in the interview, the process of death is very confusing, and in those moments, I guess you need a little help. So the DMT gets released naturally when we when our mind when our mind really has decided that, okay, we're about to go through a dying process, and whether that actually happens or not, it does get released.
Okay, I have a question coming from a good friend of the show, Eugene, and he's wondering, where did that question go now? It disappeared on me here, darn it. He's wondering about there it is, the usage of ayahuasca. What have you learned about aliens through usage of ayahuasca? We got about 45 seconds.
Aliens are high vibrational, and the biggest thing I learned, I asked ayahuasca directly in ceremony when disclosure was going to happen, and she showed me a mirror. She said, if you want to have true disclosure, go look in the mirror.
That's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll tell you why. There is a lot of people out there, Drew, who believe that the extraterrestrials we are seeing are us from the future or us from another dimension.
I will get into that right after this break.
Oh, there's a big tease, everyone. There it is. That's the tease we were waiting for. Drew Bankey is our guest tonight. We're loving this guy, man. If you just tuned in, you're going to want to listen to this one in the archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Drew's got a book out on Amazon called I Am Perfect and So Are You. Check it on out. We'll be back. Aliens next on Spaced Out Radio. Trying to work me up with the whole alien thing there, eh? I know what you're doing. I'm okay with that.
So we're about to get into face-to-face contact near Chaco Canyon in 2018.
Yeah. We'll wait till the break, man.
I gotta go use the restroom. I'll be right back.
You go. I'll take care of these guys, including Cherry Pepsi Mike, who he loves his clip-on ties, people. He loves his clip-on ties. I wonder if I could show this. How can I show this? Share. Do I do a video file? No. Share a window? Okay, let me try something here. I want to show you this. Let's try to see if that'll work. There we go. This is what I want to show you guys. This was made by Stetson John. So if you know Stetson John, he's in our chat room every now and again, and he called it UFO Twitter's Lonely Hearts Club. And you'll notice, like, I don't know if you could see that. Hold on, let me see if we're seeing this properly here. Let's go here. Yeah, if you see there's old Davey, right on the upper right there, beside Art Bell, Geraldine Orozco. Bryce Zabel is right below me. There's a lot of cool people in this photo, man. There really is. I love this photo. Thank you, Stetson John, for including me. You know what I'm real happy about with Stetson John including me on this photo here? I'm liking it because this is literally... I always get excluded from stuff like this. I don't know why, but I always get excluded from stuff like this. So all of a sudden to see my picture in there with the rest of these really, really cool people, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm pretty happy about that. And the front row, of course, you got Jacques Vallée, Robert Bigelow, James Fox, and George Knapp. And then, on the left, you have Lou Elizondo, Tom DeLonge, Grant Cameron, Ryan Bledsoe, Linda Moulton Howe in the gown on the other side. I'm not sure who's down below with the witch's hat on. Not sure. There's a few I'm not sure about.
You got the Beatles on there.
Yeah, but this is all UFO people. They've been photoshopped in. Yeah. Stanton Friedman, UFO Jesus, Bob Lazar, Jimmy Church, Terry Lovelace, Simeon Hine. This is Mick West, Joel Griffin Dodd from UAP Research. We all know Cherry Pepsi Mike loves him. Don't know who she is. There's a few I don't know in here, to be honest. But it's really kind of cool. Really kind of cool. There's Nicole Sakic right there.
Dave, did you say you're not in there?
No, I'm in here. I
was gonna say, because I see you in there.
Yeah, no, I'm in there. Yeah, all I'm saying is usually I'm the dude who is like totally excluded from cool things like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it takes a while to get in that club.
Yeah. I'm usually in the exclusion club, not the exclusive, the exclusion. Yeah. So.
Funny.
Let's see here. Who else is in there? There's Chris Bledsoe, Melinda Leslie, John Greenwald, Gary Voorhees. I can't even name all these people. I really can't.
Oh, you know who's not in there?
Who's that?
Clifford Mahooty.
No, Clifford Mahooty's not in there.
Oh man, he's a banger, man.
Oh yeah,
he's something else.
I got to get him on the show sometime. Never have.
Man, how much time we got before we go back in?
We got like 20 seconds.
Oh man, I had an amazing experience with him at Contact in the Desert a few years ago.
Yeah,
man, we're talking about things. He brings some information out of me that I didn't even know I had. It's weird.
All right. Hold on 1 second here, my friend. We're going to get going here. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio, or second half of Spaced Out Radio, is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. You can find our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Drew Bankey, and we're having just a great time with him. And now we're going to learn a little bit about ETs. Where'd they come from? Where do they go? Where do they come from? Alien Joe. That could be a hip-hop song. Who knew? Who knew? My friend, thank you, and welcome back, Drew.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
All right, let's get to the aliens, man. What do you got for us? Where are they coming from?
Well, they're us. Like, the theory that they are us in the future is my truth. I'm not gonna, this is one thing that, it's personal for everybody. I don't want to shift anybody one way, but this is my truth that it's us. What will we look like in the future? Like, what would you look like 2 million years from now, 2 billion years from now? And what would you be doing? You'd be coming back and watching a shift in your timeline and see how it played out. And that's really, in a nutshell, what's going on now. And this is why I come to this understanding. So in 2000, I'm not going to put a year because I'd be lying if I said a year. I don't remember a year. A few years ago, me and my wife were celebrating our anniversary in February, and we decided to go to the New Mexico area, the Four Corners area, and do some hiking and looking at some sacred sites around there, one of which was Chaco Canyon. So Chaco Canyon was the scene of, there was a civilization there about 12,000 years ago, and they were, the Kivas and everything, they were trying to connect to star people, aliens. So it's basically what Chaco Canyon is. It's remnants of a large ceremony that took place over like a 7-year span. But I took my drum there. I know a lot of prayer songs, Native American prayer songs. So I had my drum with me, and I decided to sing a few prayer songs in the canyon while we were there hiking. And the day started to come to an end, so started to get dark. So we headed back to an Airbnb that we were staying at, about an hour away from Chaco Canyon, and we had dinner, and eventually went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I woke up about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and my ears were ringing really, really different than they normally do. My ears ring at a pretty normal rate, but this is one of the first times that I really recognized my ears ringing I recognized that something was making this ringing happen. Like, it wasn't just from, the air or whatever, or static that was in, or anything that I was hearing around me. It was very clear that the ringing had intelligence to it. So, I got really nervous and kind of grabbed a cigarette and walked out to the back porch, and went to light the cigarette, and I started to cough, and I started to be overcome with this vibration, and the vibration started inside. It felt like it started inside my chest, and it was pulsating from my chest out, and it just, every breath, it was just getting more and more intense, and to the point where it was almost making me sick. I was gagging and leaned forward to, I thought I was going to puke, and I just coughed, and I was able to not puke. But when I leaned forward to spit, I hacked up some phlegm, and I leaned forward to spit in the yard. I was standing on the porch, and I leaned forward, and out of the corner of my eye, I seen something standing beside me. I saw a shadow, and my first thought was it was my shadow from a street light. I'm not used to being in cities. Where we live at, we've lived out in away from people, and out in the middle of nature over the past few years, pretty exclusively. So being in the city, I'm not really used to it that much anymore. And I really thought it was a street light behind me. So I turned around and looked. There was no street light. Like, it was just completely black in this backyard. And as I turned from looking for the street light, I looked at basically a life-size shadow of myself. It was, 6 feet tall. It looked like my outline. And I still at that moment thought somehow it was my shadow. It was coming from a light that was behind me or something. And I looked at it, and within a half a second, it started to open its eyes. And as soon as it opened its eyes, I just saw stars. There was just like infinite amount of galaxy and universe in this shadow's eyes, which now I understand. I mean, at this point, I realize it's a being. Like, it's some type of being here to communicate with me. And I can still remember the eyes opening up. It just seemed like it took seconds to open up. I'm sure it just opened up immediately, but I just seen more and more stars appearing in its eyes, and I kind of got transfixed in that moment. And after what I think was a few seconds, went inside, and I was kind of in fear. Not fear of it was going to do anything to me, just fear of I was not expecting that moment to happen in that moment. And when I was looking in it, take a step back, before I broke contact with this being, I was looking at its eyes, and I was seeing the universe start. I was seeing the sun when it first started. I was seeing the crystal cores of the planets. I was seeing them vibrate. I was seeing dirt start to materialize around these small crystals, and eventually planets materializing around these crystals that are vibrating. And I just saw it like a brand new creation story unfold that was downloaded to me in that moment. It's in the book. And kind of broke contact, went inside, and really trying to catch my breath, and there was trying to process a moment that I guess you can never be prepared for, really, until it happens. Fully prepared for it, just happens. But I went inside and locked the door and woke up my wife and told her what happened, and she's calmed me down. She's like, you already know these things happen. Like, this is okay. Like, just, this is your moment, and you just need to figure out what, all what that meant. And after a half hour, 45 minutes or so, I got calmed down enough to where I lay back down, eventually went back to sleep. The conversation continued for the next couple of days and slowly faded away over 4 or 5 days, a week or so, and kind of become something that was only mentioned here and there after that. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, the real amazing part was I had a dream. And in that dream, I went through the same experience, but from the other viewpoint. I saw how that being got here. I saw him materialize in the back of this house we were, the B&B we're at, the Airbnb we're at. I materialized in the back and waited and watched myself, watch this physical form, walk out the door. I watched Drew light a cigarette, and I went through the whole experience from the other viewpoint. And in that moment, I really understood the aspect of multidimensionality, that we're multidimensional beings operating on several dimensional fields at the same time. And this is why we have memories that we can't explain. This is why we have deja vu and all kinds of other things. And everything become very clear in that moment of having the same experience from two different viewpoints. And that's not the only experience I've had like that. Another one was with a Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I was in a Native American Uwhippie ceremony. This is a ceremony that dates all the way back to Neanderthal days. They found proof that Neanderthals were performing this ceremony, and basically it's kind of like a Native American seance, but the indigenous tribes were doing this long before seances were ever even thought about. So this ceremony involves 28 songs, and there's several singers that sing the same song at the same time. And there's very specific songs that call certain spirits and energies. And there's no medicine involved. There's no ayahuasca or peyote or anything like that. It's simply the vibration of the songs that open up a space that it allows beings to manifest from the spirit world into physical form for a short time frame. So this was my third Uwhippie ceremony. I was a singer. I was there offering songs in this ceremony, and there's very specific instructions, like when you start hearing the spirits move around, put your back to the wall, keep singing. If you get scared, sing harder. Don't go into fear. And so I'm in the ceremony, and this is my third ceremony, and I've had experiences before, and I'm pretty much believe in this ceremony, but I'm not fully believing like all this stuff, and I'm singing, and there's rattles that start flying around the room, and they're like shaking, and it's in the dark. So there's rattles start flying around the room, and the thought goes through my head. I'm singing, but the thought goes through my head. I was like, someone has got up and started moving these rattles around the room, and trying to fake this. And as that thought goes through my head, the rattles stop in midair, and they're shaking like in midair, and they start flying around the room like hummingbirds, like just so fast that that there's no human that can move that fast in the dark. There's 50 people sitting around in this small 20 by 20 room, or 25 by 25 room, whatever it was. But point was, there's no way that these rattles could be flying like that without someone like kicking everybody in the room. And I was like, okay, I believe you now. Like I'm still singing. I'm telepathically connected to these spirits in the room. And now I know that there's definitely spirits in this room. And every thought that I had, the spirits interacted with every thought that I was having. I thought, I started sweating. I was like, man, it's so hot. Well, the room's closed. All the doors are locked. All the windows are shut. There's sheets over the windows, so it's completely dark, and it's at night, and it's completely room, so there's no light coming in anywhere. Everything is locked up tight, and all of a sudden, like, it seems like the spirits just took down the walls of the whole building, and I felt like we were sitting in a field, and there was a steady breeze that was blowing back and forth. And then the walls came back, and we were back in the room, and I started tearing up. I was like, I was just really in utter amazement of what was happening. It started raining in the room. We were in a closed room. There was a thunderstorm that started in the room. Lightning started striking, and it started raining. At that point, I knew for sure that whatever was in this room was definitely connected telepathically to me. There's 28 songs. We were getting towards the end of our set. We were probably around 21, 22 songs or so. And these songs are sung repeatedly. Each song lasts about 6 to 10 minutes each, and they're sung one right after another. So one ends and another one starts. So there's no seam. They're seamless songs. So it's a constant prayer that opens up this space. So in that moment, I was like, I had a prayer fan, Eagle prayer fan that was on the altar, and that fan had come off the altar, and it was something, I still don't know what it was, but something was tapping it on my body, and that those feathers traveled about 20 feet from the beginning of the ceremony to when the lights come on. They had traveled 20 feet, and they were in my lap. So I asked, I was like, I started smelling something, and I started smelling like a wet animal, very pungent odor. And I started hearing something breathing that had just come in the room. It wasn't in there. And it was the loudest breathing thing in the room. I could hear it over the songs. And it hit me in that moment when I heard it breathing, what it was. I was like, the Sasquatch Bigfoot is connected to these ceremonies. It's all in several Native American folklore, spiritual practices. It's talked about as a brother in a lot of tribes. It's not talked about as a mythical creature. It's actually talked about as a spiritual being that's really there. So it's definitely a part of these ceremonies and connected. So I asked telepathically, I was like, if you're real, like, and you want me to believe you fully, show me. And I'm thinking this in my head, and a rattle starts to fly across the room, and sparks are coming out of it, and it's coming closer to me, and I can hear it breathing. The smell gets more pungent, and my ears start ringing a lot stronger, and just every second it starts getting more and more intense. And the rattle, right as the rattle gets up to me, it's shooting sparks out and rattling. And right as it gets up to me, it leaves whatever is holding it. It leaves its hand, and it's flying in the air to me, and this big spark comes out of it. And it seems like time stopped in that moment. And this big lightning bolt like lit up this Bigfoot that was standing in front of me, and its head was all the way up to the ceiling. It was 3 times as wide as I am, all hair, and it just stood there, and we stood there in this timeless moment for I don't know how long, and I just took it in, and I was just in amazement, and I just kept singing, like, because I was scared as shit. Like, I was just terrified. Like, I could not believe. I mean, it was within a foot of me. It was just standing right in front of me, and I was sitting down on the ground and looking up at it. It was just in utter amazement of how large it was. And the same thing happened as with the ET contact near Chaco Canyon. 2 or 3 weeks later, I had to experience the same experience from the viewpoint of the Sasquatch. I was in another time and space, and I heard a calling for a ceremony, and I materialized in a room, and I heard someone asked to be a believer, and it was me. And I walked up to myself, and it was having, once you get out of this manifestation and get out of this 3D world, the understanding of oneness, the world is starting to opening up to the understanding of oneness. And once you get into that understanding, you understand that all these beings are just another facet of you. And those two moments are probably the most influential moments of my understanding, especially of multidimensionality, that astral travel, lucid dreaming are something that I couldn't even believe they would be before that. Now it seems like just those moments have unlocked a different facet of who I am.
We've got about 4.5 minutes left before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Drew Bankey is our guest tonight. SacredJourneysWithin.com is his website. Drew, for you going into this area where you're meeting up with aliens, you're meeting up with Sasquatch, it really shows how everything is kind of interconnected and we don't even realize what is going on in a spiritual realm, isn't it?
Yeah, that's, I've spent a long time trying to get a handle on it, and I just understand the point of any understanding about the spirit world is just to be in utter amazement of it, because you're never really going to have a full understanding of it all, because it's every time that each of us, every being, every manifestation makes a decision, right or left, right or wrong, any decision, there's another facet of ourself that plays out that other decision as well. And that's how dimensions open up. The spirits tell me that every time that one of us makes a decision, another dimensional field opens up, another dimensional space opens up. So until all of us stop making decisions, the universe is constantly going to be expanding, because all those facets, every single event, every single moment has to be experienced from every single angle possible. So the one consciousness can absorb that lesson at its fullness.
How did you feel when you were going through this and learning this connection and these communications? Well,
the moment where the bird come to me, that was a moment, I thought I was going crazy, to be honest with you. Hearing voices, I'm a veteran. It's like, all right, I guess I'm just supposed to be one of them guys that gets locked away in a VA hospital somewhere and babbles about his trials and tribulations in Baghdad or whatever. But so I asked the spirits, I was like, you guys are going to have to show me that something that I can't deny, something that I cannot, that I can look back on and say, okay, this is real, and this message is real. And that was the connection from the feathers coming to me in the way they did, and the dream, the ceremony, and then manifesting in the physical form. So that's kind of like, I kind of look at myself as kind of a trapeze artist or a circus artist, and that's my net. That's my safety net. I can fall, but I'm never going to hit the ground. I'm always going to go back to that moment when my dream manifested through a ceremony into the physical.
As you went through that procedure and you met with yourself from another plane, another dimension, wherever you may come from, what was that like, making eye contact with yourself?
It's very comforting, when it's scary at first, but when, you can, after a breath or two, it's just a moment comes over you. It's just in utter amazement. You understand very quickly, what this being is, what your relationship is to this being. And, there's this, you get flooded with a million other questions. It seems like whenever a question gets answered in my journey, and a million question gets answered, opened up. And yeah, it's just it's never ending, and you just have to accept that, and just be accepting of everything, and just be in surrender. And that's really to be a sovereign being. You have to really understand trust and surrender.
And on that note, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Drew Bankey as our guest. We have him for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio before we get to the bottom of the hour in hour 3, where we will all of a sudden shift on over to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. A jam-packed hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. All right, mate. I'm just going to run my pups outside again. I'll be right back, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
Drew, have you ever pulled into battle? No, I haven't been pulled into battle. It's raining for the first time here, guys. This is our very first rain of the spring, is what you're hearing. Bomber, what's Bomber's question? Bomber, what is your question? Aaron, what is he trying to ask? Drew, people often blame ND with DMT release and actual occurrence. What say you of that? You experienced both. How would you compare the two? They're the same space, and that's really what opened my eyes. I felt they were the same space, like the vibration itself, like the heart space that the NDE and the DMT is in. It's the same. Like the visual may be different, but it's home. You know, it's that feeling like if you went home and you've been gone for a long time, like the home you grew up in. My opinion, they're the same, Bomber.
Perfect. Would you say the NDE isn't real then? She's asking.
No, the NDE was very real because I was not alive. I mean, my body was not. The engine wasn't running.
The engine was not running. Perfect. We got about 1 minute here. All right. I want to say a big thank you to Catfish ×3, Sinister, Lynn, Donna, Jennifer, Wagon Breath, Lib, Vinster, Fapster, Justin, Jeremy, Mike, and BBD Warrior for the amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate you taking the time to support Spaced Out Radio, and to all our new subscribers for hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell, knowing when we are coming on the air. We really do appreciate that, and all the love that we get on a nightly basis here on Spaced Out Radio. Damn it, man. You guys make it so fun and so worthwhile. And to all the veterans out there who are tuning on in, you know we love you here, and thank you for tuning us in. Here we go with the third hour.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune us on in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone tuning on in around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Herquitaliancy. Herquitaliancy is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as a clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we bring in Drew Bankey. He is a great author who is, well, let's tell you the title of his book. You can find it on Amazon. It is called I Am Perfect and So Are You. A clear channel of Osiris, Archangel Michael, and of Source. Drew, welcome back.
Thank you, brother.
How can people learn more about their own inner spirituality? How do they reach out to within themselves to find that higher source that we all hold?
Some meditation. I go through some that is you don't need any plant medicine. You don't need to worry about prosecution or anything. There's tons of things out there that you can do on your own. So let's talk about frequency and vibration a bit.
Sure.
Just for a moment. So a lot of people know about Dr. Emoto. So Dr. Emoto, back in the 90s, he did studies on water where he would put a glass of water in a room, and he would put a speech of Hitler on repeat for 30 days. This is a closed experiment. So in another room, he had another glass of water, and he had Beethoven's one of Beethoven's symphony. I think it was his 5th or 7th symphony, on repeat for 30 days. And at the end of those 30 days, he went at it was just both of them a glass of water, both from the same source. Like the water, there was nothing different about the water. There was just the only thing different about them was what was the vibration, or what was played around them for those 30 days. So the difference in the two, the glass of water that was in the room with the Hitler speech, it was noticeably different. There was mold. There was visible water that you wouldn't drink. Basically, the water in the other room with Beethoven, it was crystal clean. It was clear. It was perfect. So he took it a step further. He put it under a microscope and seen what the molecular structure of this water looked like on a cellular level. The cellular level of the water that was in the room with Hitler's speech was malformed. It was jagged and malformed cells, and some of them were actually diseased. The water that was in the room with Beethoven, all those cells were geometric shapes, perfect geometric shapes, and totally clean. And the water tested some of the most purest water that had ever been tested. So the conclusion that Dr. Emoto come from this, that water reacted to positive and negative vibrations, and the positive vibrations would heal and keep it clean and drinkable and livable, and energized, and the negative vibrations would bring it down. He repeated this experiment several times with other different things, and this was a conclusion after a while, a scientific documented fact that water reacts to vibration. Well, guess what? We're water. We're 80% water. We're that glass of water. You can be in a room and you can fill yourself with those negative vibrations, and you can foster cancer and you can foster disease, or you can knowingly put yourself in positive vibrations, positive noises, positive sounds, and your body can remain healthy and intact and heal if it's sick. So how do we apply that to our lives? That's all well and good, but how do we apply that? What frequency and vibration do we use? Very simply put, look up binaural beats on YouTube. Look up the frequencies for creation, 432 frequency, 500 something frequency. There's different frequencies you can look up on YouTube, on Google, these frequencies that match different things of our creation. For manifestation, for healing, and you can play these at night. You can play them low enough to where you don't even hear them, so they don't disrupt your sleep. But your container, your glass of water, will still absorb those vibrations, and in turn, you can change from the glass of water that's in the room with Hitler's speech, and you can move to the room of the clean water that's in the room with Beethoven. This is one of the most simple ways to hack our body and hack our manifestation through vibration. The other way is meditating in the sun. In the morning, the first hour, half hour, when the sun first breaks the horizon, and the last half hour, you can look at the sun and absorb those codes that are going to the earth. And allowing the day to play out. So the first 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight that comes over that horizon, that's all the codes for the day. All the codes for how the day is going to play out, how the manifestation is going to play out, all the energy for that day gets released that first 15 to 30 minutes of the day. And this is in Vedic text. This is old stuff that hasn't been talked about and has been Vedic text and Mayan understandings. And a lot of these things have been buried for so long because they're so simple. They're right there that nobody can stop you from looking at the sun and absorbing that energy. And when you look at the sun in that meditation, understand that the one consciousness is a real thing. Like, there is no separation between you and that sun. You are one. And then see what happens to those rays when they're coming at you. I found this by accident. I ran across something that was talking about the meditation in the morning in the sun, and I went out and tried it. And looking at the sun, the one consciousness thing wasn't part of it, but it's something that is deeply ingrained in me. So I was thinking about one consciousness when I was looking at the sun. And those rays were coming at me. This is like the first 5-10 minutes. So I'm looking directly at the sun. The rays are coming directly at me. I'm absorbing them. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's no, the separation between me and this sun is an illusion. Like, this is something that we're all taking place in. It's very intricate, but it's an illusion. I'm one with the sun. And at that moment, it went from straight rays coming at me to the rays like circled out and they went through me. And I got pulled out of body and got pulled up to the sun. I was right looking at the sun. So the sun is our physical manifestation of source in the physical. The Mayans and everything prayed to it, and we don't really give it the credit for what it actually is. It is our physical manifestation of source. There's so much I want to get into. It's such a short amount of time.
Just run with it, man.
Okay. The earth is physical manifestation of the source. Everything in manifestation has a chakra system. So if you look at our universe, since we have put the name on it of the universe, it has to have a chakra system because since we have a name on it, it has a spirit. So the universe has a spirit. It also has a chakra system. What is its chakra points? The planets. What is the heart chakra of the universe? The earth. The earth is the fourth planet away from the sun. It is the heart chakra of the universe. That's why there is life on earth, because it is the heart chakra of the universe. That's why there's life on other planets as well. But the Garden of Eden, where all plants and can grow, and where you can choose between love and hate and everything else. You can have choice. Is the heart chakra of the universe, which is the earth. So, yeah.
Well, that's very intriguing, because wouldn't that put the earth at the center of our own solar system then?
The earth is the center of the universe, because ultimately the universe and all creation is manifested through our thoughts. So the earth is actually the center of the universe. Everything comes from here. Every time, say, if we were to say Palladian on here, and I were to mispronounce it and say Palladian, there would be another race of Palladians manifest. It's that simple. That's all it takes for something to manifest. Just a word or a thought being said by one person, one of the 8 trillion plus in manifestation at this time. Because we're all it's been hid for so long. Don't say God, don't say you're God, because it's blasphemy. That's been put out there for so long to hide us from these truths, because this is true empowerment. Like when we understand that and it's not that the blasphemy is saying I'm walking on only God. Accepting the evolution, accepting the truth of who you are is saying I'm God, and so is everything around me. That's the difference between blasphemy and evolution. So let's get into why this is happening now. In 1860 something, there's a gentleman that coined the phrase and coined the term 2020 vision. So from 1863, I think, 1860 something, From that point on, from all the way to 2019, generations, and it's been encoded in everybody. 2020 vision means clarity, means perfect vision. If you have 2020 vision, that's perfect vision. So up until 2019, that was the vibration, that was the feeling when someone said it. But January 1st, 2020, we had to start writing it. January 1st, 2020, January 2nd, 2020. What year is it? 2020. Oh my God, pandemic. It's in 2020. Every time we say 2020, we're saying the word 2020, but in the background, what is manifesting is clarity. There's a vibration that's going off from each and every one of us that's pulsating clarity every time we say 2020. So all year in the year 2020, this vibration went out into the universe. Clarity, clarity, clarity. So now we're watching that all those prayers or all those energies from all those unknowingly manifesting clarity, we're watching clarity start to manifest. So this is why the pandemic hit in 2020. This is why for us to see that, okay, the government, like I said at the beginning of this, is not the insurance company that they say they are, like the United States government is not the insurance company they say they are, because 2-3 weeks into anything, they're throwing their hands up in the air and just throwing us $1,000, hoping it will smooth things over when they ain't fixing anything at all. So what a lot of people ask me, if 2020 means that, what does 2021 mean? Simply stating, we're at the time of clarity and we're at the age of oneness. We're at the age that we understand that we're all one consciousness, and we're also finding the balance of still being separate, but understanding that separateness has been an illusion, has been a falsehood the whole time, and really we're all sharing the same consciousness. That's why when you get in a relationship or you spend a lot of time around someone, you start finishing each other's sentences, or start knowing what they're going to be doing, and start getting a sixth sense of them, because you're matching the vibration. It's the same thing, what I said earlier about the guitars. You put two guitars in the same room, strike the G chord on one guitar, walk over to the other guitar and watch the G chord on the other guitar and don't touch it. It will start vibrating because it's going to match the vibration of that other string. This actually happens. And that'll show you what is happening now. I'm vibrating now, and I'm speaking truths, and I'm speaking them with conviction. So I'm bringing people in this audience closer to my vibration with this acceptance that I'm one. And people in this audience are processing their own things. They're processing as I'm going through this. How do my dreams tie into this? How do my experiences tie into this? How do my experiences with ayahuasca or peyote or San Pedro tie into this? And they're finding commonalities in my story. I don't know what they are, but I know that this is my mission. I'm here as walking embodiment of source consciousness, not saying I'm the only one, but someone had to come down into form. And you can read it in the book. I lay it out exactly how this happened in more detail. But I was asked to do this. I was asked to walk as this in human form, to be a mirror so people can see themselves. And people really don't fully feel the full magnitude of who I am until they understand it in themselves. So in that moment, they understand I'm source, and they understand they are as well. And that's what was asked of me to do. One thing that was asked of me to do, one very clear rule, was not to become a deity. So that's why I teach empowerment, and I teach self-empowerment, self-love. This light is in each and every one of us.
For you, as you are teaching this message through a church, who are you praying to? Who are you asking for guidance from? Because most churches ask for some sort of deity up above, whether it's God, whether it's Vishnu or Buddha or somebody.
Simply source. That's that's the most basic form of title I can put on it without because ultimately Vishnu and all these other things, and Jesus and Tankashala and all these deities and everything are really source. We put differently. There's songs and poems that say, I go by 1,000 names, but I'm really only one. This is talking about, source has went by all these different names because there's been so many different facets of humanity that to get the message, it had to create deities of like, okay, Jesus. So people that are not resonating with the Buddhist storyline can look at Christianity, and people that are not resonating with either one of those can go to Native American. And this is how the world's been set up for so long, because we've been in an age of going through this, of going through processes. Why I'm separate and to learn those lessons fully, we couldn't have the understanding of oneness to fully understand those lessons. We had to really fully sit in the separateness and really trudge through these hard times. But now, like, the truth is there. It's been there all along, and it's so clear and easy to see that it's overlooked, because our human nature is designed to overlook these things. Like the idea that and this whole thing with frequency and vibration, the government and the powers to be, unfortunately, has known this for a very long time. They, the spirits showed me, laid this all out, how I was brainwashed to go to the military from a young child. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Okay, if we're frequency and vibration, and frequency and vibration affects our container, what happens when children in the United States say this over and over again for years on end? They believe it. They pray to a flag. This is why I have a flag on my arm, because I was brainwashed into believing that this is what we're fighting for, a piece of fabric. And G.I. Joe, all of it is a brainwash tool that is, unfortunately, pushes us into these things that you're going to have honor, you're going to have respect, you're doing something for your country. But unknowingly, all this time in the military, I'm not bad-mouthing the vets at all, because their intentions were pure. They're like what they were doing. Unfortunately, the people that were receiving those intentions took them and did something else with them. The American military, I'm speaking some hard truths now, but the American military uses war to wash money. They wash money for projects that they don't want the people to know about. I've seen it for myself in person, how they wash money in Iraq. It's been all over the news. Like it's crazy. Like the things that are coming out now, the things that are about to come out, June and July are going to be big big months in our future. So buckle up for those. But this year is going to be a very big year for all of us.
My friend, we've got about 2 minutes left with you tonight. And I want to say thank you for coming on and having just a great show with us, my friend. And this has been a very, very good night, a very educational night. And I want to say a big thank you for sharing your story and everything along with us here on Spaced Out Radio. Do us a favor, take the next 90 seconds or so, tell everybody where they can find your website, your church, and your book.
Okay, I'm perfect, and so are you. I want to give a shout out to Colleen Geron too. She's my co-author. She sat down. She's a retired neuropsychologist. She sat down and let me channel, and she transcribed this book for me. So I got to give big shouts out to her and my wife for doing the cover art. I'm perfect, so are you. Amazon, check it out, or you can contact me through www.sacredjourneyswithin. Journeys is spelled a little different. It's IES because it's Journeys. The other way it's spelled is a link to a documentary. But regardless, check us out there. You can contact me on Facebook through Sacred Journeys Within. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook through Drew Bankey, last name Bankey. And our church, we're having a retreat coming up in June 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our teacher's coming up from Chile with plant medicine. We're going to be working with the San Pedro cactus Wachuma, doing an intense dive into that, and also be teaching more in depth about how to connect to the sun so we can all connect. Because all these medicines, everything that we see, touch, and feel, all these medicines are a watered down version of that energy coming from sun, our physical representation of source. I pray that everybody in these days ahead, I know there'd be lots of loss, and I pray that we can get through these times ahead in a gentle manner, in the gentlest manner as possible, for us to still learn the lesson. Anybody going through grief and hardship, my thoughts and prayers go out to you. Much love and blessings. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate you. You hold on. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good job, my man.
Yeah, it's a banger, bro.
I hope you had some fun with us, bro.
Yeah, I love it. It's my honor doing this, really. I'm something, I'm something that I don't know. Ultimately, I'm just Drew that was given a message by a higher source to share. And it's my honor to do it. And I hope and pray that I've reached some people. I know that I have from even just looking at the comments thread. So whatever I did for anybody, I'm glad. I hope that one of my words touched one person. That's just my goal, and every time I do a talk. So
you know what, I will say this, and every now and again we'll get on these spiritualist type people who really are all about self promotion and self grading themselves. But you were real, man. You were real, and I think that I agree with Aaron here, who says one of my favorite shows I've listened to in the last year. And I think that's great, man. And just keep up the great work. And you're a humble dude, man. Much love, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, well, let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that. All right.
I'll let you know when I get some more material.
Just let us know. Let us know. Let Cords, the booking guy, know, and we'll make it happen.
I appreciate it, bro.
All right, man.
It was my honor. I thank you so much. And so I just want to say this before I get off with you. We all have a way to express this beauty and this love from Source. And I recognize how you're doing it, and I honor that, bro. You're doing your work, and you're doing it in a beautiful way. You're allowing a vehicle for people like us to get out there, and it's every single facet of this whole conglomeration is needed. And I see you, and I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. I'm gonna let you go. I gotta go get ready for the news, but we'll stay in touch, Drew.
Sounds great, brother.
You take care. Later. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye.
Fantastic guy. Fantastic guy. Yeah, that was awesome. And hey, Dan W., how are you? Cat Chaser, thank you for the amazing super chat, along with BBD Warrior, Mike, Jeremy, Justin, Fabster, Vincente, Lib, as in Long Island Bigfoot, Wagon Brat, Jennifer, Donna, Lynn, Sinister, and Catfish with the hat trick. Thank you for the love and support of Spaced Out Radio, guys. We really do appreciate it. And thank you, Corns, the booking guy, for an absolute great guest. Remember, if you have a guest you want to recommend, you think they're going to be very good for the show, just message Corns at bookings@spacedoutradio.com, bookings@spacedoutradio.com. SpaceDoutRadio.com. What do you say we bug Gail a little bit here? Let's bug Gail. Shall we? Let's bug Gail a little bit. Where is Corns? Did Corns, the booking guy, come into the chat room? And I didn't even see it? All right, Gail's forcing me to do it. Here we go. Let's put Gail up here. Where are you? Where are you, Gail? All right, we're 10 seconds away, everyone. Hold on. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning on in. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears, and we want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. I'm laughing because if you're watching on YouTube right now, Captain Shirky Poo doesn't like the other logo that I was using. So I said, I'm going to put your profile pic up on our YouTube and Twitch channels. And now she's like, no. And that's why I'm laughing. That's Captain Shirky Poo. Look how beautiful she is. All right, hey, she does a great job setting me up for the news, so here we go. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the bizarre. Security camera footage has captured an eerie black ring floating in the sky. Is it a UFO, a bizarre smoke signal, or something else entirely? Well, the clip, which was shared on TikTok, opens with security cam footage showing a family looking in amazement at the sky and asking, what the heck is this? Another video, filmed on a handheld device, shows the smoke ring itself, while the person is filming is like, what in the world? It may be hovering, it's almost motionless, with wisps of smoke emanating from the black ring shape. Many people commented to ask what was going on, with some left wondering whether it was a portal into another dimension or even a portal from all of the enemy worlds coming to Earth. In truth, it's less likely to be visitors from outer space or even an elaborate hoax. Similar black smoke rings often crop up, leaving people scratching their heads about what's going on. The phenomena actually occurs when electric transformer boxes explode. Yep, a quick Google brings up hundreds of identical images, all of which show the same thick black ring floating up into the sky. After one appeared in the UK near Birkenshaw a few years ago, UFO investigator ruled out any chance of extraterrestrial action. And of course, Mr. Brill O'Hare himself, Nick Pope, who investigated UFOs and other mysteries for the Ministry of Defense in the past, explained, despite exotic theories about UFOs, aliens, portals to other dimensions, I believe that there's a decidedly down-to-earth explanation here. A so-called smoke vortex can arise when you have a blast through a circular structure like a smokestack. So these weird effects can be caused by accident or indeed by design. So we don't have aliens over in the UK right now, but they do have weird smokestacks. Okay, moving on here. Let's close the pop-up ad. All right. Ominous owl sightings have led to some paranormal enthusiasts to link the birds with alien abductions and other unexplained phenomena. Yeah, the owls are not what they seem. This was a cryptic warning uttered by the giant in Twin Peaks, echoing eerily throughout David Lynch's and Mark Frost's surreal series. However, former Spaced Out Radio guest Mike Clellan says these psychic pronouncements ring especially true. For the past decade, he has worked tirelessly to catalog paranormal sightings and the fluffy avian predators. As self-described as the owl guy of the UFO world, Clellan has become the foremost writer theorizing a connection between owls and alien encounters. His book, The Messengers, is a collection of anecdotes from people who claim to have had paranormal experiences involving the bird. It all began after Clellan started seeing owls circling overhead for an entire hour during a 2006 camping trip. Familiar with the supposed UFO owl link, Clellan intuitively felt there was something mystical, otherworldly, or even alien to the owls above. Moved by the events, Clellan eventually connected owl sightings to disturbing alien abduction experiences of his own, spurring him to post a call for any strange owl anecdotes on his website. To his surprise, the stories stream from tying the birds to UFOs, abductions, missing time, and other strange phenomena. Meanwhile, owls began to manifest themselves to Clellan in a flurry of weirdness, for instance, appearing to hover at eye level before fluttering away as he rode his bike through his small Idaho town. Now he's collected thousands of accounts, with at least one landing in his inbox every day. That people are actually having experiences that imply contact with some sort of non-human intelligence is strange enough, Clellan says. Adding owls into the mix, it is all the more bizarre, like performance on a stage. The owl is playing a small role in this grand drama. How interesting is that? We got to get him back on. We do. All right, let's go forward here. Shibani Balsaver parked the rented U-Haul in front of her new Hollywood home. Yeah, but it didn't turn out so well. It was moving day in February 2020, and Balsaver was preparing to unload all of her belongings into her first solo apartment. She and her friend Shalani would be done in a couple of hours if everything went smoothly, except it didn't go smoothly. No. Moments later, a swarm of police officers ordered the two women to exit the truck and lie on their stomachs in the middle of the street while officers searched the rental truck, according to court records. Balsaver and Sen remained motionless on the pavement as at least 10 officers surrounded them, some with guns drawn, while a police helicopter hovered above. Court records and a video recorded by a bystander show. At that point, they had not told us why we were being pulled over, Balsaver says, who works in the film industry, recounted in an interview. It was terrifying. I really thought I was going to get shot. But by the time both women were placed in handcuffs, police told them it had been a misunderstanding. The U-Haul that officers initially believed was stolen had in fact been rented by Balsaver earlier in the day, police told the women. Not like they didn't really know that at the time. Now the two ladies are suing the city of Los Angeles, the officers involved in the incident, and the LA Police Department's chief for unspecified damages. Their lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court Central Division of California, alleges excessive use of force, unreasonable seizure and search, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and assault. All of this was in full view of Miss Ballsaver's neighbors, said Brian Olney, a lawyer represented both women. This is how she was introduced to her neighbors. They got to watch Shabani being ordered out of her car with her hands on her head, lying face down in the street, and being violently handcuffed. This has been traumatic. We need some cash. No, he didn't say that. I threw that in. They were completely humiliated, though. Frankly, they are fortunate that no one got shot. Neither the LAPD, the police union, nor an attorney representing the plaintiffs have responded to messages from any media requests. A lawyer representing the city and the LAPD denied all allegations in subsequent court filings. Ballsaver, who was moving into a new apartment less than a mile away from her residence in East Hollywood, rented a U-Haul and, decided to do what normal people do, and that is use it for moving. She met Sen at the old apartment, and the women loaded Ballsaver's belongings into the truck. They began to ship them to the new apartment just before noon. Ballsaver says she was very excited about her new apartment. It was supposed to be a new chapter in her life, but instead, it didn't go very well when a gun is pointed to your head. So, good for them. They are suing. Let's see what they get out of it. They should get something. I think they will. Let's see here. There we go. A beachgoer strolling along Newport Beach in California last week discovered something strange. A really weird-looking fish that rarely washes ashore. Ben Estes spotted the fish in the sand Friday morning at Crystal Cove State Park and alerted state park rangers and lifeguards about this weird find. It was found by Davies Locker Sporting Goods and Whale Watching, a boat tour company that operates in the region. The fish was identified as an 18-inch deep-sea Pacific football fish. The Pacific football fish is one of 300 living species of anglerfish that's normally found at depths of more than 3,000 feet below the surface. Though the fish itself is not rare, it's extremely rare to see one intact along a beach in Southern California. The Pacific football fish has a unique look as it uses bioluminescence and lures at the tips of its fishing pole-like projections from its own head to attract prey in the dark, murky depths of the sea. It's not clear at the time where the fish will end up, but it is currently in the custody of California Department of Fish and Wildlife. That thing is bizarre looking, by the way. Absolutely bizarre looking. All right, let's move on here. Last July, a group of scientists who have been trying to make alcoholic spirits from crops grown within the exclusion zone that surrounds Chernobyl nuclear power plant announced that their first big release could be an 80-proof alcoholic beverage from distilled apples. Yes, this one will get you radiated quickly. We have a plan to introduce a spirit from the apples, maybe pears as well. The Chernobyl Spirit Company wrote on its website, the apple harvest is coming up in Narodchi, a town we're working with in the Chernobyl-affected area, in the next few weeks. We're planning to buy enough apples from local people there to be able to produce a batch of apple spirit working with a small-scale fruit distillery in Ukraine. The company said that it would most likely sell the first run a few hundred bottles in the United Kingdom by the end of the year. It then amended that estimate, writing that the bottles would be available in the UK and in the Ukraine at some point this spring. But now it seems like it might not happen either. Last week, the company reported that the Ukrainian security services had launched an investigation and that their first 1,500 bottles of atomic apple spirit, oh, that sounds good, has been seized by Kiev city prosecutors. According to the BBC, the shipment was taken from a distillery at the Carpathian Mountains in western Ukraine. The spirits is the first consumer product that has been produced in Chernobyl's exclusion zone, the roughly 1,000 square mile area surrounding the former nuclear power plant since its devastating 1986 disaster. We are working hard to set up a business to help bring jobs and investments to the Chernobyl-affected areas of Ukraine and to further support the community with 75% of any profits we make. Jim Smith, a University of Portsmouth professor and founding member of the Chernobyl Spirit Company, it seems that they are accusing us of using forged Ukraine excise stamps, but this doesn't make any sense since the bottles are for the UK market and are clearly labeled with valid UK excise stamps. Smith and his colleagues spent more than 3 years researching the radioactivity of crops grown in the exclusion zone where commercial agriculture activity is banned. Under the banner of the Chernobyl Spirit Company, the scientists originally made vodka using grain from the exclusion zone, and although the raw grain had radiation levels that were slightly above the Ukrainian limit, the radioactivity was reduced during the distillation process. According to the University of Portsmouth, the resulting moonshine-ish spirit was no more radioactive than any spirit drink. In other words, he wants people to get liquored up on atomic apple spirit and support the lowly Ukrainians once again. I'm saying that as a Ukrainian, my relatives are from that area, so let's support them. We need the help. Yes, they do. They've had a tough run over the last 100 or so years. Thank you, Bolshevik Revolution. A man in China was left dangling from a bridge. Have you seen these bridges that have the glass floor and then they put that fake cracking of the glass on the floor and it freaks people out? Yeah, well, this happened. Yeah, he was left dangling from a bridge after its glass panels were damaged in high wind. The man was visiting the 100-meter high bridge, or for our American friends, 330 feet in the Pian Mountains in the northeast part of the country when the incident occurred. Several pieces of glass floor were blown away by winds that reached up to 90 miles an hour. It was thought that China has about 2,300 glass bridges and a number of glass walkways and slides. They are designed to attract thrill-seeking tourists and capitalize on China's growing domestic tourism. An image widely shared on social media shows the man dangling in the middle of the bridge, located in a scenic area near the city of Longjing. Firefighters rushed to the scene to rescue the man. However, he managed to get back safely himself with the help of on-site staff. The tourist was taken to hospital for observation and counseling and is now said to be in stable emotional and physical condition. The area has been closed according to Longjing City's Weibo page. An investigation into the incident has been launched. Now, it's not the first accident of its kind in China. In 2018, Hebei province shut all of its 32 glass attractions, including bridges, walkways, and viewing decks, while safety checks were carried out. Elsewhere in the country, one person died and 6 others were injured in 2019 after they fell off a glass slide in Guangxi province. In 2016, a tourist was injured by falling rocks while walking on a glass walkway in the city of Jiangxi. Weird. I don't like those things, man. That's just scary enough right there. All right, here's a weird one. A woman who claims to have discovered that her boyfriend had cheated on her has revealed how she got her own back, and it's pure evil, to be honest with you. And she's proud of it. Yeah, TikTok user Thea Loveridge said that she and her partner gave birth to their son, and right after, she discovered that he had been cheating on her the whole time while she was pregnant with his ex, who claims it caused serious drama in their relationship. Shortly after she found out, he ended up going to jail. During this time, Thea said she was messaging him, trying to figure out where he was, all confused why he hadn't talked to her. But instead of telling her the truth about what really happened, I messaged her and told her that he was dead. Saying she didn't stop there. So get this. Girlfriend tells mistress that boyfriend and Mr. is dead. Yeah. After getting his sister to go along with her plan too, she held a fake funeral for him and even sent out photos of the service. It's been 3 years and she still thinks he's dead, he revealed. She posts little tributes every year on her Facebook page to the love of her life and how she's so sorry that she couldn't be there when he died to save him. Since being posted, the video has racked up more than 1.1 million likes and almost 16,000 comments from viewers who are in hysterics over the lengths that she went to. One person said that he was dead. Another person pointed out, imagine she married another man and finds out he's alive and now she's conflicted and her relationship is over. While the third commented, it's the sister backing you for me. Pure evil, one other writer wrote, I absolutely love it. And yeah. How do you do that? How do you do that? That's just cruel. Just cruel. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Tell me about a secret special power you would want and why. Let's start off with Jules. To be able to make people love each other and all of our relatives. And let's go to 13 ballads. Souped up crystal pendulum divining powers would be nice. I'm already a water witcher, so map divining for treasure would come in handy. Linda, I want to go flying because it's getting hard for her to walk. John, to stop time and help some people. Love it, John. Love it. See what else everyone else is saying. Let's go to Magnus. Telekinesis. In theory, it would also make one able to fly, but really it would make life much easier. Merle. Merle's popping in here. I already have one, he says. And he talks like that in monotone, right? That's Merle. I already have one, and it's classified. Thanks, Merle. Way to go in depth there. Don, I would want the power of persuasion so I could tell the people I love not to take certain things and they would believe him. Lorianne, I would want the power to go back in time and rectify my mistakes, like marrying my exes. Instead, I would run like hell in the other direction and to get to see loved ones who crossed over one more time. Gary the Dutchman says, I want to be able to fly. That would be so cool and fun. Michael Morris, I would like to shapeshift and take form of any person, animal, or object. Well, Ashira7 agreed with him. She wants to shapeshift too. Joretta, not falling for that trick. She wants to fly. Double Bobby, seeing one day into the future to make a killing in sports betting, I would give 1/3 of the profits to charity and 1/3 to SOR. Damn it, Bobby, why haven't you done it yet? Caden, I would want to be able to read minds or think of a place and magically be there. Mind reading for doing business so I don't waste time on people blowing smoke. And location jumping because I'd never have to pay for gas, hotel, or waste time driving. Joshua gets the final word. Flight. Saves tons of gas money and girls would probably dig it. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again tomorrow. We really do appreciate that. And, of course, thank you to Captain Shirk for the wonderful news. And Drew Bankey for being our guest tonight and opening us up to the world of woo. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars. Once again, thank you to everybody in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, LGAB, Revolution Radio, the Space Travelers Club, and Derek and the Snarkettes leading the charge on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Who knew? We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. as the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, oh yeah, we've got room for them too. Good night.
I got my daughter's hair looking tight, so we hopped in the car and went to Mickey D's to celebrate. I did my thing with these braids meal.
There's a meal for every moment on the McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu.
Enjoy a tasty McChicken biscuit or chicken McGriddles. Get two of the same or one of each for just $3. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price cannot be combined with combo meal.
Minute Maid slushies are back at McDonald's. And if you want to thank me for that info with the slushie, that's cool. It's more than a drink. It's a McDonald's drink.
Treat yourself to a refreshing Minute Maid slushie, a pink lemonade, or strawberry watermelon. Goes great with a fresh beef quarter pounder with cheese or the new crispy chicken sandwich. At participating McDonald's for a limited time. Fresh beef available at most restaurants in contiguous U.S. Not available in Alaska, Hawaii, and U.S. territories.